Now, we've shitted on the Dallas Cowboys for a very long time, and for very good reasons, because Jerry Jones has made a lot of bad decisions that has held this franchise back from winning another Super Bowl. But this year, though, Jerry Jones has been in his absolute bag. He wants to win another Super Bowl before he dies, and he has taken accountability for the Dallas Cowboys shortcomings that they've had over these last couple of years, and he's doing everything in his power to make it right. Look at the trades that the Cowboys have made this year, with them getting rid of Michael Parsons, flipping him for 2 first-round picks, and getting Kenny Clark, then using one of those first-round picks to go and get Quinnen Williams, one of the best interior defensive linemen in the league. You trade for a solid starting linebacker and Logan Wilson. You traded for George Pickens, and one of the biggest finesses in NFL history. As a diehard Steelers fan, I'm still sick to my stomach that we got rid of George Pickens. And I understand that the captains on the team, guys like Cam Hayward and TJ Watt, they were done with George Pickens, coming to meetings late, coming to games late. But him going to the Cowboys was just a perfect culture fit for him, because the Cowboys have been notoriously known for taking guys that have a little bit of history being troublemakers at their previous stops, rehabilitating them and getting a lot out of them. Look at how much they got out of Terrell Owens. Look at how good Des Bryant was in his peak. So it's no shocker to me as a Steeler fan to see George Pickens balling out the way that he is. I was arguing back and forth with Steeler fans all offseason when they were calling him overrated. Oh, he doesn't do anything underneath. Oh, he's not a great route runner. George Pickens is a dog, and he's showing that. He was a dog at Georgia, even though he has a few moments when he may lose his cool. When you have a guy in CeeDee Lamb that's able to take a guy like George Pickens, wrap his arm around him and say, man, you finna be my homie. You know, it's easy to see why George Pickens has been so successful with the Dallas Cowboys, on top of playing with the best quarterback that he has played with up to this point in his career. He was still getting over 1,000 yards with Mason Rudolph, Mitchell Trubisky, and Kenny Two Small Hands Pickett throwing him the football. So imagine what he would do with a guy in Dak Prescott, who throughout the entirety of his career has been a top 10 quarterback. You can argue if he's been top 5 or elite quarterback, but we all know that Dak Prescott is one of the most consistent quarterbacks that you can find in this league when it comes to getting routinely good quarterback play throughout the regular season. Not only has Jerry Jones made some very good trades, but the Cowboys have been exceptional at building their team through the draft. The majority of their best players, where did they come from? The draft. Their entire offensive line, which has been playing at a top 5 level this year, was built entirely through the draft. Same thing with their defense. DeRon Bland, Trayvon Diggs. The majority of their best players on that side of the football, they got through the draft. Donovan Azaraku, who was an All-American coming out of Boston College. I thought he should have been a first-round pick. He's going to be an absolute menace coming off the edge for the next 3-5 years for the Cowboys. What about that linebacker coming off that season-ending injury? Demarion Overshaw. He was a dog out of Texas. They drafted him. The Cowboys are a very good team when it comes to assembling their team through the draft. And Jerry Jones has made the moves that we all criticize him for not making in years past, not being aggressive, not being willing to spend in free agency. But it seems like we were all wrong about Jerry Jones. You know, we thought that the Dallas Cowboys messed up not drafting a running back high, not getting one of the better running backs in free agency, and Javonte Williams, who's been one of the most productive running backs in the league, quietly should end up being the winner of Comeback Player of the Year. Everybody's talking about Aiden Hutchinson winning Comeback Player of the Year, Daniel Jones. What about Javonte Williams? If he never had the injuries that he had early in his career with the Broncos, he would easily be a top 5 running back in the game. The Dallas Cowboys, as easy and as fun as it is to shit on this team, I think their Super Bowl window is as wide as it's ever been over the last 2 decades, these next 2 to 3 years, they've done an incredible job of building their team up through the draft. They've hit on some very underrated free agency pickups, which is one thing that every Super Bowl team has done in the past. And I think that Brian Schottenheimer is a pretty good coach. His dad is Marty Schottenheimer, who was also a really good coach throughout his time. The only thing with Marty was that he was unable to get it done in the playoffs. Brian Schottenheimer, on the other hand, could be able to maybe get the Cowboys over the hump. It's kind of a situation where you have the Philadelphia Eagles light. The Cowboys have as good as a roster as anybody else in the NFL. I mean, what position can you point to on the Cowboys roster and say, yeah, that's a major hole? Their defense has greatly improved since they made the trade for Quinnen Williams. And now you pair him up with Kenny Clark. For the next 2-3 years, your defensive line is going to be set. You got Donovan Nazaraku, who has the ability to be a consistent 9-sack guy or better for you. I don't think that the Cowboys have ever had as golden as an opportunity as what they currently have over these next 2-3 years to win Jerry Jones another Super Bowl before he ends up passing away. And Jerry Jones has said that he would love to hoist that Lombardi trophy one last time. And it's hard for guys like Jerry Jones who have had success in the past to come out and publicly say that, you know, I'm responsible for this. When they lost to the Arizona Cardinals, Jerry Jones couldn't blame anybody on the team. He couldn't blame any of his players. He couldn't blame Brian Schottenheimer because he was responsible for that team that you saw on the field in that game. And that's the moment when Jerry Jones had to look at himself in the mirror and say, you know what? I have to be better. This is on me. If I'm going to be the owner and I'm also going to be the guy pulling the strings, I have to be a lot better. And what did he do to make up for that? He went and he got Quinnen Williams. You get Logan Wilson. You won the Michael Parsons trade. Michael Parsons is a great player. He's had a very good season for the Green Bay Packers, but Jerry Jones had a point. We weren't winning anything of note with Michael Parsons. So what's really the difference between us having and not having him, especially when we have studs like Donovan Nazaraku, we draft well, and we develop very well? Jerry Jones has finally gone all in. And I expect him to be even more aggressive with him publicly coming out and saying, you know, I know that the time that I have left on this earth, my days are numbered. So I have to be a lot better. I have to be a lot more aggressive. I have to be a lot smarter with how I go about building up this team with the raw decisions that I make. Because I don't have any more days to waste. I don't have any more breaths to waste making bad decisions. And he will pay George Pickens. He won't drag that out. I promise you he won't drag that out. Jerry Jones has learned. He, as stubborn as what he is, he's very smart. You don't end up having the most valuable franchise in all the sports if you were just an idiot. Jerry Jones is just stubborn because success can make people stubborn. Sometimes people can become such a prisoner of their success that it blinds them with certain decision making. It kind of messes up their ability to decipher what's a good decision, what's a bad decision, because what was a good decision 20 years ago, 30 years ago when the Cowboys were winning, could be a bad decision today because the league has changed. The league has evolved. And Jerry Jones has kind of been stubborn to evolve with it. But now, I think with how good this Cowboys team looks, I can see them winning another Super Bowl within these next 2-3 years. And I know it sounds outrageous to say that, but eventually the Cowboys are going to have to get over the hump at least one of these years. And I think Jerry Jones is fully putting the full court press on finally making sure that the Cowboys can get back to the level that we all think of when we bring up America's team, when you talk about the history of this franchise.